A long time ago, when Brahmadatta reigned in Benares, he raised a fourfold army and marched against King Tikiti of Kosala. King Tikiti of Kosala knew that his country was poor and weak compared to Benares, so he decided to take his chief consort and sneak out of the city before the attack. King Tikiti traveled to the outskirts of Benares and lived there with his wife, disguised as wanderers in a potter's house. Eventually, his wife became pregnant, and she gave birth to a young son, whom they named Tikawu, meaning long life. When Prince Tikawu became of age, King Tikiti, now a father, fearing that King Brahmadatta would find out about them, sent his son away. There, at the edge of the city, Prince Tikawu learned many crafts and skills. One day, King Tikiti's old barber, who had gone over to King Brahmadatta, happened to see King Tikiti and his wife living in the old potter's house, and reported this to King Brahmadatta. King Brahmadatta had Tikiti and his wife captured and tied up with ropes, pinning their arms behind them. He had their heads shaved bald and marched them to a harsh-sounding drum from street to street. At that time, Prince Tikawu had decided to check in on his parents and heard the drums. There, he saw his father and mother bound and paraded through the city. King Tikiti could see the anger and panic beginning to overtake Prince Tikawu. Before the prince could get close, King Tikiti said, "Don't be far-sighted. Don't be near-sighted. Vengeance is not settled through vengeance. Vengeance is settled through non-vengeance." Don't be far-sighted. Don't be near-sighted. Vengeance is not settled through vengeance. Vengeance is settled through non-vengeance. King Tikiti had to say this 3 separate times to prevent Prince Tikawu from acting. The people thought that King Tikiti had gone crazy from fear. After the king and his wife were marched throughout the city, they were quartered, and the pieces were buried in holes placed in the 4 directions. Soldiers guarded each location. After nightfall, Prince Tikawu bought some liquor and got the guards to drink it. When they had fallen down drunk, Prince Tikawu dug up his parents and made a pyre. Then he set fire to it and circumambulated it 3 times with his hands raised in salutation. Soon after that, Prince Tikawu went to the royal elephant stable and asked the chief trainer to teach him how to train elephants. During the night, Prince Tikawu sang with a sweet voice and played the lute in the elephant stable. Hearing this, King Brahmadatta ordered Prince Tikawu to be brought to him. King Brahmadatta then had Prince Tikawu perform for him. The king was so taken by the prince that he ordered that the prince stay and attend to him. The prince did as he was ordered, and was always polite and obedient. One day, King Brahmadatta invited Prince Tikawu to drive the king's chariot on a hunt. Prince Tikawu drove it in such a way to separate them from the other soldiers. Eventually, King Brahmadatta became tired and laid down on Prince Tikawu's lap, and feeling safe, he fell asleep right away. Prince Tikawu then began to think of what King Brahmadatta had done to him and his family, and his anger began to overcome him. He thought, "You killed my mother and father and stole our land and kingdom. Now is my chance to wreak vengeance." 3 times he drew out his short sword and held it above King Brahmadatta's head, ready to murder him in his sleep. Three times, his father's words entered his mind. "Don't be farsighted. Don't be nearsighted. Vengeance is not settled through vengeance. Vengeance is settled through non-vengeance." 3 times, Prince Tikawu returned his sword to its scabbard. Then, King Brahmadatta woke up in a fright and said, "I just had a horrible nightmare. Prince Tikawu, son of Tikiti, killed me in my dream." Prince Tikawu then grabbed King Brahmadatta's head with his hand and drew his sword. "I, your majesty, am Prince Tikawu, the son of Tikiti, whom you had murdered so viciously. You've done my family a great harm. It was because of you that my father and mother were murdered. Now is my time for vengeance." King Brahmadatta dropped his head to Prince Tikawu's feet and said, "Grant me mercy. Grant me my life, dear Tikawu. Grant me my life." Prince Tikawu once again heard his father's words and dropped his sword to the floor, bowed down to the king, and said, "Who am I that I would dare grant life to your majesty? It is your majesty who should grant life to me." King Brahmadatta pulled the young man up into an embrace and said, "In that case, you've granted me my life, and I've granted you your life." The 2 men clasped hands and swore to grant each other their lives, and swore an oath to never do harm to one another. Back at the palace, the king presented Prince Tikawu and declared that no harm was to ever befall him. The king then asked Prince Tikawu in front of all of his ministers, "What your father said to you before he was about to die. Don't be far-sighted. Don't be near-sighted. Vengeance is not settled through vengeance. Vengeance is settled through non-vengeance. What did he mean?" "When my father said don't be far-sighted to me, it meant not to hold a grudge for a long time. When my father said don't be nearsighted to me, it meant not to be so quick to act on my emotions. Don't be so quick to destroy relationships. When my father said, for vengeance is not settled through vengeance, vengeance is settled through non-vengeance, to me, it meant that my father and mother were killed by your majesty. If I were to get revenge by killing your majesty, those who hope for your majesty's well-being would deprive me of life. Then, those who hope for my well-being would deprive them of life. In this way, vengeance is not settled by more vengeance. But now that I have been granted my life by your majesty has been granted your life by me, and in this way, Vengeance has been settled by non-vengeance. This is what my father was saying to me as he was about to die. Then, King Brahmadatta and all the advisors rejoiced at the wisdom contained in the words of the young prince. The king returned Kosala to Prince Tikawu and gave the prince his daughter to wed. What did you learn from this story? Let us know in the comments. We hope you enjoyed the video. Click like if you did, and click subscribe if you want to see our uploads. And consider making a donation to support our Buddhist animation project.